Media personality Andrew Tate, who was arrested on December 29th in Romania in connection to a rape and human trafficking investigation, tweeted a link to an article on a Romanian news website called Spy News on Sunday that claimed he was attacked. In the tweet, he wrote, "The Matrix has attacked me, but they misunderstand. You cannot kill an idea. Hard to kill."
The article claimed that one of the brothers was taken to the hospital after a routine medical check while in custody, the U.S. Sun reports. So, Robbie, I don't know. I can't help it. Look, maybe he was actually attacked. But I have to say, this strikes me as something that women do a lot when they want sympathy, which is try to cast themselves as a victim in a certain way. You know, someone will tweet something, unpopular, get a lot of pushback, and then talk about how they're being harassed, how they're getting all of this hate speech, how that should be regulated, right? It's a very, I feel, feminized approach, which is to say, pity me, have sympathy for me. I am a victim. You can't hold me responsible for this. See me as the one who needs your pity. And, which is just to say, Andrew Tate is supposed to be this macho masculine, paragon, right? And I've always felt about him that he's a fraud. And I've always felt about him that there are so many upstanding, good men out there defending traditional masculinity in a way that doesn't lead directly to accusations of, sex trafficking. They stand up for traditional masculinity in a way that also elevates women and also protects women, right? Instead of the way he does it, which is to elevate masculinity and then denigrate women. Those are not the two choices, right? Like total genderless society where we don't need men, we don't need women, everything is fluid versus Andrew Tate, right? This machismo that insists on degrading women and possibly, allegedly, even trafficking them. There's a much better alternative in the middle, which is, a healthy regard for traditional masculinity, for the role that men as providers, as protectors play in a society in a way that protects and defends women, femininity, and all of the things that we require from that duality. So I know that sounds hopelessly conservative, but I just feel that, Tate has sort of forced this dichotomy that I think erases something in the middle that's actually valuable.
Yeah, I mean, the success of the whole kind of pickup artist community, or the figures like Andrew Tate, who I guess have been successful, although we don't really see the the balance sheet. I don't know how successful it is, and now he's facing possible prison charges. But build some kind of profile or make money. Convincing really desperate young men, kind of directionless young men who've had very bad luck with women or are just like way too socially anxious, I guess, to even talk to women or go on dates. And they convince them that, well, if you're more like, I'll show you how to do it, and you got to, really treat them like crap, and you have to be, horrible, and it's all about, I don't know, sex and really demeaning women and, making money and smoking cigars in this really kind of joyless way. Like he doesn't make it seem fun and happy. He makes it seem really awful and parasitic and like unhealthy. That's not a good, I mean, you don't need to come to me for dating advice or anything, but just be nicer to people and you'll be successful a little bit in terms of dating. Like what he does is just and is also not, as you allude to, is not particularly conservative or socially conservative. I mean, he was accused of, forcing women that he was doing his cam girl show with and making them tattoo his name, that's to their bodies. What is socially conservative about that? I don't get why he was kind of being claimed, and not universally, but by some on the right, as someone that should be defended or be associated with. I truly don't get it. And now I don't know if he was actually attacked. He uses attack exactly as you say in this very broad sense. If people are criticizing him, he's being attacked. It's like when he said earlier, I know they're going to come for me because I'm just too, I'm too much of a free spirit. The system must destroy me. I know they'll come and try to arrest me. And then people were like, look, they're coming to arrest him. He's a prophet. He knew. Well, if you're doing illegal things, you also know you're eventually going to get arrested. That doesn't prove that you're some kind of a prophet. That just proves you knew what you were doing was illegal.
Right. Right. Yeah. I think I will say something I hear a lot from my single girlfriends is that it's not just that the pickup artist thing has sort of tapered off. It's that men now are very hesitant to approach women in traditional settings, even where women are used to being picked up, like in bars. Because of the Me Too movement. Mm-hmm. So there's been this impact socially where men now feel that that's, an act of aggression that they don't want to be accused of. And it's really starting to have an impact on like real world mating, which is like extremely important if we intend to be around as a species.
Oh, yeah,
in 100 years.
I have endless criticisms of the Me Too movement, and then how it just became a kind of policing about bad dates. The Aziz Ansari thing I always bring up is just like such a clear indication of the whole thing going totally off the rails, and just kind of people wanting to celebrate victimhood and make victimhood a personality. But people like Andrew Tate, again, given what he's accused of, we don't know the validity of it. He deserves due process just like everyone else. Maybe, it's not, to my mind, beyond the realm of conceivability that what he was doing was very gross but was legal because the people involved in the cam girls and et cetera consented, or they weren't literally forced to do it. It might not be illegal. I don't know. That's something that needs to be borne out. I don't think that's totally impossible. Et cetera. But all that said, clearly what he's doing is so gross and degrading and disrespectful. Like, that's the kind of thing that gives fuel to the whole Me Too. A legitimate target of Me Too grievances are figures, I think, like him, that really, give a bad name to men everywhere, I guess, and have helped wreck relations between men and women in the last few years.
Well, I think that's how the liberals would want us to see it, right? That he represents anybody defending the traditional values of masculinity. But I think that's kind of wishful thinking on their part. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a lane between, the sort of feminist agenda that I think has really overreached, and then the Andrew Tate that allegedly is actually sex trafficking, right? And it's the kind of much more traditional view that says, we can defend traditional masculinity. It has a role in society. It's extremely important for families, for children, even for women. That there's something in between there where there are a lot of wholesome figures, even influencers, doing what Andrew Tate does. Like, the focus on him seems to me to be the desire by liberals to erase the much more wholesome version, which is not about sex trafficking, right? But about, more traditional values. I was
watching a little bit of a YouTuber criticizing and responding to Tate. I believe it was Vosh, I've not watched a lot of his videos, but he had a pretty good one responding to Tate and pointing out, so Tate's describing, he has all these cars. That's part of what got him into that feud with Greta Thunberg. Describing but he only likes having a nice car because only he can have it. It's about status and feeling better than other people. Like, it only has value because other people would covet it. And Vaush was talking about how, taken to an extreme, or even just on its face, that's such a sad way to live, to only want something because somebody else would value it. It doesn't have any intrinsic value to you. It's not something you'd like to have, but you only get some kind of satisfaction out of it because it enhances your status and makes you feel better than other people who don't have that. I mean, that's such a sad way to go about life. It's like, no, pursue things that provide value to you, that are of your interest, that you want, because they make your life more meaningful. If your life is only made more meaningful by some comparison to others, that's a really toxic mindset to be in that will leave you very deeply unsatisfied. And that by itself, I think, makes him a terrible role model for young men, or really for anyone. It shows a very sad hollowness to his thinking, I believe.
But I think the point you made earlier is so trenchant, right? That there's no joy in it. It's joyless. It seems like work for him. And indeed, if the sex trafficking allegations turn out to be true, it was work for him, right? I think that's a really great point. In fact, the champions of sex workers, right, and the sex work economy are, again, liberals. So I think categorizing him as some sort of a conservative might be a bit of a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we will have more Rising tomorrow, when we will speak with investigative reporter Addie Ads about the situation going on in Brazil. Batya, it has been a pleasure to see you this Monday.
Great being with you, Robbie. I'll be watching you tomorrow.
Thank you. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any of our content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're available anywhere podcasts are available, Roku, other streaming platforms. Check us out, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.